Hello guys, today's Sunday and I am heading to the tournament for the round 5 and 6 of the 2025 Minnesota Open. So again, today just the focus will be play good chess, just stay calm, you know. Yesterday, the last 4 rounds were amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to play that well. I got lucky. I got lucky in a few opportunities, you know. Round 1, my opponent flagged. Round 2, I missed a win. After reviewing with the engine, I had multiple ways of winning the game. Just, what was it, rook c1 or something, and then just attack the knight. If the knight ever blocks on a8, I just bring the rook and win the knight. And with promotion, I should have just gone rook check first and then capture the knight, because whenever the king moves anywhere, I can always come with check and then protect the knight all the way down to obstruct the pawn from promoting. There were multiple ways. I missed it. We were low on time though too. We were both on like 8 minutes, I think. There was only 5-second delay, so we didn't have increment, you know, so it was a little bit scary. Still got the draw, but then the win definitely was very nice, just because my opponent made a mistake not doing knight a5. I was gonna be down a pawn. I was already thinking about being down the exchange, but after engine review, the better opportunity was gonna be just be down a pawn, and that's not too bad. But I think I would have played the down the exchange because I wasn't thinking about the other options, other possibilities. But man, today just tried to play some good chess. I've been having really good positions with the white pieces. I have a feeling that my next game will be with the black pieces, and we'll see what the last game ends up being. Maybe it's gonna be black and white. I played a good Caro-Kann game with the black pieces. I had 3 whites, I had 3 whites and 1 black, so maybe the next 2 games are black. I'm not sure. But I think I had the white pieces just because I was in board number 3, and I was the higher, had more points than my opponent, despite him being over 2300 rating. So today is just stay calm, man. Stay calm. We can do it. We can play good chess. Think a little bit more. In that end game against my opponent Andrew, I should have found a better move. Having him take my pawn but then double his pawns. I need to not be too afraid of dropping a pawn if I can win it later, if it will just help my position be improved. So I should consider that a lot. We shouldn't hang on to pawns too much, but especially in those situations where they can just be doubled up and not be defended well. So I need to keep that in mind as well. Other than that, first round will be at 10 a.m. The second round will be at 4 p.m. The time controls are again the same as the last 2 rounds from yesterday, which will be 90 minutes each person, so an hour and a half each person, with 30-second increments all the time. After every move, you are added 30 seconds on your clock. So it's a slow time control, right? But still, we need to stay focused, because in round 3, my opponent had a few seconds on the clock, like 5 seconds on the clock, and at the end he just resigned because I had an hour, and my opponent, I didn't have much time. I think he was a little bit frustrated that I was playing super fast. But after that miss that he did, it was the position was not too difficult to play, I don't think. All right, so we'll see how it goes today. I'll try to have the same goal of no losses today. We're gonna go for draws, and if we can push for a win. Now that with the performance from yesterday, I can win, man. I can win some games. So if I can win, I'll go for the win. I won't push it too much though. Because sometimes we get too excited and we just try to push for a win and then start sacrificing pieces for no reason, and then we just end up losing. So just stay solid, you know. play solid chess, play good chess, and have fun. Alright guys, I hope you like whatever, I guess round 1, I'll be reviewing it. I don't know yet what the result is going to be, but you will know it in a second. Alright guys, I'll see you there. Hello everyone and welcome to round 5 of the 2025 Minnesota Open. For this one, I got to play against a high-rated opponent, not a national master like the previous rounds, but we got to play against DMB Zagar with a rating of 2154. Still a strong opponent, you know, he's been doing really well. So I got to play the black pieces, and let's just get right into it. D4, and by the way, this is a good game because after this game, like from this game, I really learned a good lesson against D4 with the black pieces. So I hope that you learn about this one as well and start applying it to your own games, okay, online or over the board. So after D4, I went with the line of knight F6, trying to go for an Indian defense. So after C4, E6, knight C3, I go with bishop B4, right? So here in these positions, it is very common if, for example, your opponent doesn't defend this knight, it's very common to give away the bishop for the knight. So we have heard that we don't want to trade bishops for knights, that bishops tend to be better than knights. I mean, everything's relative, right? So if we're in a close position, we tend to favor the knights because they can hop over the pawns. In an open position, we tend to favor the bishops. But also, if we have the bishop pair, that's even better, right? So we're controlling more squares, the light squares, the dark squares, with 2 snipers, right? So if you can hold on to the bishop pair, that's ideal. But if you're going to trade the bishop for a knight, make it do something additional than just trading equally, right? So if we're just capturing a knight and nothing else, you're not damaging the structure or something like that, then don't do it. Try not to do it. In this case, my opponent goes with the move E3. So here I can consider capturing the knight. Maybe not yet because I have other moves that I can go for. I can go for castles, I can go for D5, things like that, right? But you can consider capturing this if that can damage the structure of your opponent. But first of all, we should go for king safety and things like that. We already moved the piece once. We don't want to move it right away again, you know? So here I'll go for the move castles. Castles, and then bishop D3. I go for D5. My opponent tries to kick my bishop out, and this one here, the top engine move is just to capture the knight, and this equalizes the game a little bit here, right? So here B takes C, and we can see that, I mean, we double the pawns, but it doesn't really matter here because this pawn can always capture on D5, but it's my turn, so I decide to capture on C4. Good move. So here we need to find the critical move. Pause the video at this moment and try to find the top engine move for the black pieces. And this is, I learned my lesson from here, which I apply for the next round. But for now, take some time to think of what the best move in this position is. Try to see what your best plan would be. Pause the video, take your time. Okay, so I'll go ahead and explain what the best move is in this position. I did not make the best move, but after this round, reviewing the game, I'm going to start applying that move more. So the top engine move is to play C5 here. C5 is the top engine move. And you may be thinking, wait, you're just giving away a pawn, right? So here, your opponent shouldn't capture the pawn, but what happens if your opponent captures the pawn? That is really good for the black pieces. First of all, you can just capture the queen with check on D1. After the king captures, you can develop the knight from B to D7, attacking the pawn on D5, right? So here you're already targeting this pawn. What happens if your opponent goes with the move C6? You can obviously just capture this one. You can literally just capture, or you can also just go with a move like knight E5, What happens if they just capture the pawn here on b7? You capture back with the bishop. You're giving away a couple pawns. But keep in mind that now we're having a lot of activity. You know, we're having a lot of activity. According to the evaluation, it is pretty much saying that you have an extra piece almost, right? So to defend this g2 square, you would have to bring the bishop all the way back to f1. You can start targeting this pawn, but also just going with a move like rook f8 check. Let's say whatever the king moves, let's say the king moves to c2, okay? So we have a check already here. Check, and we're just bringing the king. We're having so much activity that we can do whatever we want. Also, not whatever, we don't want to blunder pieces, right? So here, let's say after a move, because you don't want to move the bishop here, right? You would just drop a piece. You want to move the king b, let's see. Oh, apparently the best move is to bring the bishop to d3. Let's say they don't do that. They want to just keep on playing here. King b2, you have rook b8 check. King over here, bishop d5 check, and that's just checkmate after giving up away some pieces. Here you will capture with a knight because you're still like the king cannot move. Their only move, whatever they do, you have a discovery attack, knight d2 check or something, you know, and it's a disaster because here you just give him checkmate. So it can go, things can go south here, right? So you have a lot of activity and things like that. I played b6, which is a very conservative move, very slow move. But to be honest, once I played that move, then I realized, oh man, my opponent has like an amazing move here. And my opponent found it. He found queen f3. After I made that move, I was like, okay, I'm fine. And then I make the move and I think, oh crap, my opponent has queen f3. And he plays it right away. So I have to find the move, just c6, which is not good, you know. My opponent pushes e4, so it prevents just a knight on d5. And I bring, so here I just have knight b d7. Because if my opponent ever pushes this pawn here, I have just knight d5 and I'm good, you know. If the bishop ever comes here, I can go like this. I should be all right. Just develop some pieces, you know. I don't know why. I don't know what I thought. For some reason, I thought that if I develop another piece or something, or I was just too afraid of the push and then the pin as well, that I moved this same knight thinking, oh, he cannot pin me anymore. But I should have developed the knight on b8, knight b d7, that's it. Anyway, my opponent goes there. I have to bring the queen to f6. And after this push, now I go with queen g6. And my opponent brings the bishop there. I just take the queen. And here I play the move f5. Okay, that's not a good move. Because here, just keep it simple. Keep it simple, guys. Just h6. h6 is a fine move. They cannot really sacrifice on things like that. They cannot get too excited about these things. But anyway, I played the wrong move. I played knight f5. Which means that I have en passant, but I mean, I thought of en passant, that's fine. I didn't think of the following consequences later on. So knight f5 leads to en passant. It's forced in this case. And I capture back with a knight. And the whole point of capturing with a knight is I'm developing the knight, I can bring the other knight out, and this knight's still defending the h7 square, right? So here my opponent develops the knight. And I go with bishop a6, trying to get rid of the active piece of my opponent's. And my opponent brings the bishop back, you know, because if he captures here, that is really good for me. I think I just capture here. And whenever the knight comes at this point here on e5, I can just push the pawn to c5. And everything's fine. Everything's good here. You know, captures, I can capture back with the knight. Everything's amazing. Life is good. So, because my opponent is attacking, he doesn't want to get rid of the pieces. He wants to keep the tension. He wants to keep the pressure there on the h7 square. So he just brings the bishop back. I develop my knight. And then thinking about this, it was not the best move here. What's that? So apparently it is the best move. But if I could do everything again here, I don't know. I would consider
I guess it's fine. I just have to go c5 here. I capture the knight, which is not the right idea. Here, apparently the best move is just h6 and drop this pawn, because at one point you can just you can capture this back, I guess. You know? Although that doesn't really work, because oh. So h6, what if they take here? If I go here, then there's knight check, forking the pieces. So I need to be careful with that. So it says bishop b7, attacking the knight. Oh, you win this pawn here in the end. Okay, so if knight e1 check, I come here, rook king f7, knight g6, and the knight escapes. Can I capture this pawn? Apparently I can't. So rook g1 and activate the pieces. I would still go for this move, I think, because I can go here, right? Just bishop e4, get rid of the pieces, and everything's. Oh man, this is playable. This is fine. What am I doing? Because now I'm targeting this knight. The knight, whatever it goes. Let's say they go there, right? What do we have? Rook a c8. Now we target this pawn, and everything's amazing. Wow. That's what happens, after you review things. So here, a bad move. I should have gone for, I guess I didn't see, like, whenever it takes, I just come here and attack this pawn on g2. Keep it simple, guys. But here, this is not simple here, because my opponent captures with the pawn, and I thought, okay, I'm bringing my knight here. If my opponent captures, now he has to defend this pawn, which he does. I attack the bishop on h7, and I'm getting excited here, because I see that I can try to trap the bishop. I don't calculate the whole line, the full sequence. So after this, my opponent castles long, and I have this move that I played that is not good, but I thought it was really good. g6. And I'm thinking, man, I'm trapping the bishop, because I can bring my king and then trap the bishop. At this moment, I think my opponent, not sure if he was a little bit nervous. I felt like he was a little bit nervous. He was like really thinking for this, because he also probably thought that his bishop was getting trapped, and I thought that his bishop was getting trapped. The problem with that move was that I didn't really calculate all the lines. I didn't calculate his obvious moves, because at this point, my opponent has only obvious moves. The obvious move for him is just to bring the rook forward to h6 and then just double up and keep the defense of the bishop. It is very hard for me to hit this bishop, right? So it's very tough. It's very tough. And also I was thinking that when I brought my king to g7, I don't know why I thought that the bishop wasn't a piece here. I thought that I was able to capture this rook. My opponent just brought the other rook. Somehow I thought that there was no other defense of the rook other than the rook. There's a bishop there. So then after all of this, I started thinking, man, it's very hard to get to this guy, to this pieces. I cannot really capture this bishop. If he ever takes here, I was thinking, if he takes here, I can capture. But now I'm thinking that he can always just take with check and stuff. I mean, I would capture here, right? But that was very tough. So I brought the bishop to d3, because for some reason I thought that I had the move g5. Although I kind of have it. Because let's say my opponent does a random move. Now I have g5. If my opponent captures here, now I win. I think it's like rook takes here first. And that's it. We win the game, So if my opponent allows me to go g5 in this opportunity, I can win a piece, right? But obviously my opponent has bishop g5, and that just blunts my pawn push. It's okay. So I decided to go with the move c5. Here in this at this time, I was thinking of different ideas, and I was not ideas, but like I was trying to do something, right? And I'm thinking, should I go b5? Because the whole point is that my opponent wants to push c4. If I do a random move and my opponent goes with the move c4, now if I capture, let's say, or if I go with the move, let's say if I go with the move here, bishop f5, my opponent has c4, my knight has to move. Whatever the knight moves, now I get skewered. King attack, and I'll be done the exchange, you know? That is not good. I move my king, maybe, what, g4, that, no way, man. Just capture the rook. Bishop takes h8, rook takes, and then there's this discover check, I think, or a check. If I capture back here, my opponent just wins the rook. You know, there are so many plans there. There are so many plans. Okay, let's go back a little bit here. I think we got too excited with the lines. Okay, after bishop g5. Okay, let's go. So I decided to go with the move c5 because I'm dropping a piece. I'm dropping this because my opponent, he played the move that I was expecting him to move. I mean, definitely thought. For this game, I was thinking for so long. I was thinking for so long because I already screwed up at the start, right? So yeah, there was nothing else to say, you know? So after this move, I captured the pawn, and that pawn is a deflection move because now he can go with the move rook takes g6, and he's infiltrating, brings the rook back, and I don't really have many moves. I don't have any moves, really. It is very tough for me to play here. The position is plus 4 point whatever, and there's nothing for me to do. Apparently the best move is to bring the rook from h to g8 and maybe drop the exchange or so. It is very hard to play. So I decided to bring the knight here, and then my opponent just has the move f6. At this point, I'm not really thinking clearly because I'm already totally lost. And after this, I bring my rook back because there is nowhere else to bring it. I was thinking for some reason that if I had this move, that my opponent had this. I'm not sure why I thought that. Because now whatever I move, I'm thinking he can like give me, there's like a mate in 3 apparently. So rook h8, knight here, rook takes here, and that's just mate. Wow. Yeah, things just went south. And after the move bishop e4, I resign because it's attacking my rook, and then the rooks are coming in, you know. Mate in 19, not sure, maybe my opponent can see mate 19, maybe not. But he would definitely simplify the position. It's very nice to play because if I move my rook, for example, he always has ideas like rook h7 and even capturing this knight here, you know, simple. So after the move bishop e4, I resigned. It was just too much. I was thinking for so long, and there are no good moves, I don't think, you know. I already messed up, and it all comes down to the beginning of the position. After this here, instead of playing b6, whenever you play the Nimzo or whatever against d4, just c5. Just think of c5. c5 is such a good move. And this will be applied to the following round. I hope you can also learn from that one. But at least I learned so much from this round, not being afraid of playing c5 against d4. So even if you could play against the London, if you're playing against the Queen's Gambit, c5, you have it as a resource, as a tool that will help you do well in games, you know. You're already undermining the middle pawns, right? So here is a little reflection. I hope you like it.
Hey guys, round 5, I couldn't win. Man, that was a tough position. I have to review with the engine. I thought I had a chance after I thought that the bishop was trapped. And I saw definitely bishop g5 covering the squares. My knight was there. I was super low on the clock. Not low on the clock. I was taking a lot of time to think. At the end, I only had like 18 minutes, and my opponent had like his full time, I think. That was a tough, man. That's a tough one. But we'll see how the next round goes. I'm just gonna go grab some food and one more round to go. Bye, guys.